Welcome back to another edition of the Main Street TV Local Sports Break. Hi, I'm your host, Ralph Miranda. Well, this week we're going to talk to Coach Derek Hunt about the big victory over Alcoa, Maryville's #1 rival, probably the biggest rivalry in the state of Tennessee. A big victory for Maryville, 24-21 over Alcoa on a big last-second field goal in that football game. So we'll talk to him about that. We'll talk to him about some of the players that did well Friday nights, some of the execution on defense and offense, and then we'll talk about the upcoming game with Farragut, which is the final game of the regular season, also a region game, and a very important region game, because the fact is it's going to have a bearing on whether Maryville finishes as the third or the fourth seed in their region. So sit back and enjoy this week's edition of the Main Street TV Local Sports Break. Okay, welcome back to the Main Street TV Local Sports Break. Joined again by the head football coach of the Maryville Rebels, Coach Derek Hunt. Derek, great win for you guys Friday night. Obviously, that's understating it somewhat when you have a rivalry. I think it's probably one of the best, if not the best, rivalries in the state of Tennessee, given the success that the two programs have had. So talk to me a little bit about we'll get into the game in a minute, but a little bit about the excited feeling on that bus ride back home.
Yeah, I mean, just elated, just proud of our kids. They just played so hard, and we weren't perfect by any means because of Alcoa. They're
Right.
how good they are, but at that point in time, it doesn't matter. You won, you got the job done, and so
Right.
just really happy, elated. Our coaches were happy, and have worked really hard to accomplish something like this.
And I know you guys, you got Gage back, right? I mean, came back from his injury, which was great.
Yeah.
Did you guys have to do anything different Friday night, or was it just a matter of executing what you've been doing at a little bit higher level?
A little bit of both, I would say. We always try to mix it up from week to week, based off what the defense is doing, certainly. So really not much different than any other team would do, but it was still mostly Maryville stuff, what we've done all year, and our kids just executed at a really high level on offense, for sure. And then defensively, we played hard, and Alcoa, certainly made a bunch of plays too, but we also forced some turnovers. It's not like they just gave us the ball. We knocked a couple fumbles out, and stepped in front of a couple passes, to make some to turn it over and to pick it off. So just our kids executed at a high level. We changed a few things up here and there, but it's not like it was a wholesale change of game plan.
Yeah, exactly. Another exciting feature that we'll be unveiling on our Main Street TV Local Sports Break is the question of the week. Each week, we'll be choosing one question submitted by you, our viewers, to ask Coach Hunt. To submit your questions, subscribe to Main Street TV on YouTube and comment on this or any other of our local sports break videos, or follow us on Facebook or Instagram and comment on any of our local sports break posts. Then tune in each week, Thursdays at 7 p.m. on our Main Street TV YouTube channel to catch the new episode and maybe hear your question asked on the air. So talk to me a little bit about your quarterback. What was your plan going in? I mean, I haven't been able to watch the film yet, but what is the plan? Was the plan going in as far as how often you threw the ball? How much did he throw the football? And was it routes that were a little bit safer, or did you go in kind of with the entire playbook from a pass/run standpoint?
Yeah, we didn't change much playbook game plan wise. I think we threw it 12 or 13 times, which is maybe a few fewer. But there weren't many possessions. It was,
right.
It was a run heavy ball game.
Right.
And so I think I want to say Will was 10 of 13. I mean, so he had a really good night.
Yeah. Yeah.
We did throw two interceptions. One was kind of a jump ball before half that I take all the blame for. And, we had a chance to get points right before half. We spiked it. We had one timeout. So we killed it. So it was 3rd and 6, probably on about the 25 or so, 20, 25. And we've called a play and have the daggum wrong personnel in. And so it was really frustrating. And that was completely my fault. We had to burn a timeout. And so we got the ball there with 12 seconds left. Still have time to run a play. And, but you have to change what you're calling now because you don't have a timeout.
Right.
You about have to take a chance. If you're going to run a play on 3rd down, you have to go to the end zone and it either be a touchdown or incomplete.
Right.
So the message was it's either us catching or nobody, and we throw a 50-50 ball up, and their corner makes a great play. And then the second interception was on the other end of the field near the goal line, and we run kind of a double move concept, and we're just late to throw it. And so if we're sooner, that's a touchdown. And that's just repetitions is all that is. And I've got to coach Will better. And it's a play that we had run in open field in practice, but not near the goal line. And when you run it near the goal line, you can't be tardy on the ball.
That's right.
And so I take the blame for that too, because I'm the quarterback's coach, and I've got to talk about, all right, there's different. We run a play in on the 50 versus running it on the 10. It's going to look different. Defense tighten up. It's the windows are smaller. So that's two that I'd like to have back in the game. And unfortunately, both of them were in the daggum end zone, but he made a throw early in the game, the first drive, to Price Davis. We just kind of run the back through the middle, and the Mike linebacker was matched up with him, and we snuck by him, and a fantastic throw over the middle for the touchdown, the first touchdown we scored. And he had the ball in his hands on the last drive of the game. The ball's on about the 40. You run kind of a read option type play with a third option to throw it, and he makes a great read, cuts up the field for 23 yards to get us down to the 12 or 20 or something like that. And I think it was about the 15 or 20, and put us in a chip shot field goal range, which was huge. That was a huge play in a game. So he in my opinion, he played a great game to be on that stage. Just really tough.
Yeah, no, he definitely did. Talk to me a little bit about then some of the other guys. I know you had Gage back, and I'm sure you had some other guys that performed exceptionally well Friday night. Give us some of those performances.
Yeah, offensive line I thought played really well. Owen Steffes, a guard that he's a Maryville guy is what I call him. It's those guys who they stick around the program, play freshman, play JV for 2 years, and then by their senior year, they have an opportunity and they make the most of it. Those are some of my favorite stories from our program, but that's Owen Steffes at guard. Our offensive line played really well, though. Colton Faust had a couple catches as a freshman late in the game that were really nice. Britton Barrett made a couple nice catches. Price Davis ran so hard, though. That was the best game he's had at running back. Gage only played about 4 or 5 plays.
Yeah.
And so Price kind of carried the load. And then defensively, man, our linebackers were great. Matthew Covert, I think, had 16 tackles and an interception, a forced fumble, and a fumble recovery, 2 different fumbles. Outstanding. Nolan White had a big interception and some big pass breakups at safety. So could go on and on about those guys. And it truly was a team effort. I mean, it was a team effort, and we did a really good job of making them go. We couldn't make them go 80, but we didn't really give them any short fields. And that was the key. The turnovers we did had, unfortunately, we're in the end zone. So had to go the length of the field. I thought our kicking game was good enough to make them, have to go the length of the field. We didn't give up any huge returns on punt or kickoff. So that was really, really pleasing and gave us a chance.
How much will you talked about Gage only playing maybe 4 plays Friday night, and I know his injury came the first week of the season before your young quarterback even was in the mix as playing quarterback. So going forward, how much will having a senior presence like Gage help your quarterback in the huddle? Because obviously the more veterans he's got around him, the better he's going to feel, correct?
For sure. And make no mistake about it. Gage is the boss hog on this football team. Everybody knows that. And when he got hurt, I was very concerned about who was going to step up and fill that void. And you know, and we had some great seniors, but Gage is, I mean, his presence was different. And you know, when he started practicing with us, not even when he was non-contact, kind of going through rehab 2 weeks ago, it felt different at practice.
Yeah.
It's going to be huge to have him in the backfield, you know, sharing time with Price now, as he continues to hopefully get a little bit better each week. I've not seen anybody recover from the break that he had in 9 weeks. I mean, it's kind of miraculous. The doctors feel the same way, you know, that this is as quick a recovery as they've seen for his type of break. And, you know, there's no question he's still not 100%, but he's medically cleared to play football. And so hopefully he'll continue little by little to get back to feeling normal and feeling good. But I'll be honest, I think even a 90% Gage that Friday night looked pretty dang good to me. So, but like you said, the presence that he has means almost more than anything.
Right. Yeah, no question about that. Okay, so we've got Farragut coming up, last game of the season, regular season.
Yep.
You know, and I think if I've got my math correct, I think you guys have pretty much already qualified for the playoffs, but the question would be your seeding. So it's an important game, no question about it. It's a region game, and it's very important. We talked a lot in previous weeks about your ability as a coach and your staff to get your players to come back from a tough loss and get ready for the next opponent. You got a little bit of a different problem now. You've got your players coming off a huge win, right, against a rival. So how do you get them back focused to say, hey guys, you know, this season's not over yet. We still got one more to play. So it's a little bit different problem, a better problem to have, I guess. But talk to me a little bit about you guys' mindset as coaches going into this week.
Yeah, it's a great point. It's very true. You know, my message to our coaching staff on our Sunday morning meeting was that we can't let Alcoa beat us this week.
Right.
And Farragut's a good football team. They have played a really tough schedule. They've been in a lot of one possession games, kind of like we did early. I feel like Farragut plays us as good as anybody in our region year in, year out. It doesn't really matter whether it's you know, who's got the better team. I just feel like they do a great job against us. So I would expect nothing different this year. You know, they're coming off a win against Hardin Valley.
Right.
So I'm sure that, you know, they're going to come in with the mindset they've got nothing to lose. Let's go lay it all out there against Maryville. We expect to get their best shot. And like I said, we respect them. Their coaches do a great job. So we are going to have a great week of practice. We can't let a hangover of a win affect how we play and perform with our really just the passion, intensity, and energy that we need.
Right. Now, help my memory some, because it's been a while since I've been involved. Eddie Courtney's still the coach at Farragut?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, Eddie Courtney does a tremendous job, and like you said, I mean, he's very familiar with Maryville, and I think you're right. I think Farragut has played Maryville probably as tough as any team has played Maryville, you know, over the past, say, 10 years or so, maybe a little bit longer.
That's right.
So what are some of the things that Farragut does well? I mean, I know they probably run similar type offense than a lot of teams do, but what are offensively and defensively, what are some of the things they do exceptionally well?
Yeah, they have a receiver who is one of the best in our region. He draws double teams against anybody he plays. Really good player. They're very fundamentally sound, and schematically they're as good as anybody we play. So offensively, I feel like they look a lot like us on offense. They're very multiple. They mix it up. They use their tight end fullbacks really well in the pass game. So they can be really hard to defend. And one of the things that they do really well, or at least have in the past, is they've been able to put 12 to 16 play drives together and keep your defense off the field, convert on third and fourth down. When you have teams that can do that, it's really tough, man. It shortens the game, but then also, it keeps you from being able to score points and be explosive. So they've done a good job at that in the past. And defensively, they love, against us anyway, they've done a good job of taking away what we might want to do first, depending on what the year is. So if we're run heavy, they'll put numbers in the box and dare you to throw it over top. And if we're pretty, there's been years where I felt like we're more explosive on the perimeter, and so they'll play too deep and keep everything underneath and make you go 15 plays to score. And so they do a good job on defense. I feel like they are so well coached, and Coach Courtney, he's been around a long time. He's the godfather of East Tennessee football. So he's definitely a role model of mine too. I love the way that he runs his program. I think he does it the right way.
Yeah, he does. There's no question about that. I think Eddie Courtney I like that, the godfather of high school football coaches in East Tennessee. Last thing I want to talk about, I think, is kind of for the fans to listen to. This season's been kind of a paradigm of what football's about. I mean, you guys started out the season pretty strong. You lost Gage, you lost a couple other players to injury. You had a few losses. I'm sure there were a lot of fans upset, what's going on. But here you are. You mentioned it a little bit early on in our talk this morning. You got Gage coming back. He's the guy that stirs the drink among your players, keeps everybody focused. Your quarterback's starting to grow. Your players are playing. But I mean, you're kind of hitting your stride just at the right time. So talk to me about how it's so important in the game of football, especially as coaches and players too, to just one game at a time. It's a long season. You go through adversity. Don't let adversity beat you. When it happens, use it as fuel to kind of, extend. I mean, you know where I'm going with this. So talk to me a little bit about how important it is and for you guys to have weathered the storm, not only coaches, but players as well.
Yeah. I mean, every year is going to be different. And there's definitely some years where you need to go through stuff like that. And, I think Coach White asked me after the game, I think it was Coach White, Mike White, with as well as we're playing now, would you rather take this team and start over or leave it as is? And the answer is I'd leave it as is, because the reason we are where we're at is because of what we've gone through. Exactly. Adversity is what molds you. And I don't think there's any question we wouldn't be here. We wouldn't be playing this well if we hadn't had to solve so many problems.
Right.
And that's what adversity does. It forces you to look in the mirror and try to figure out how you can be better, or it makes you fold, and it can, like I said, it shines light on your character and your grit and your courage. And our kids have a lot of that. They do. And our coaches do too. And so I'm super proud of them. Obviously, beating Alcoa is great, but we're not, we could lose next week and all that good feeling's gone,
Sure.
So it's not over yet. We've still got a lot to prove. I still think this football team can continue to get better. Mm-hmm. I still think we have higher goals out there. Our goal was not just to beat Alcoa and that's it. We want to win every game we play, and we didn't do that early in the year. But we're playing really good football right now, or at least a lot better than we were early on. So you feel good about it, but you also got to keep in mind the reason that we are where we are is because of what we've been through. Mm-hmm. And so guys can look back at some of those scars early on and know that they've overcome some tough stuff. And that's what's most special. That's what makes years most memorable, and makes you feel like, hey, we're good enough to overcome some more adversity should it come our way.
Yeah, no, that's an excellent answer to the question. And, it's interesting. Everybody wants to go undefeated, right? But the goal is to get into the playoffs, right? At any level of football. And once you get in, you got a chance, And I think this year you guys not only the fact that you've improved so much over the year. You've dealt with the adversity, but you're probably going to go into the playoffs as a third or fourth seed and probably a third seed. So you're going to be on the road, but you're playing with house money in kind of a weird sort of way to explain it is that, nobody's going to give you all much of a chance, but you guys can go in and play loose and just keep doing what you're doing. And I think that's kind of a little bit maybe different from what most Maryville teams have been used to, which is, being the number one seed. So I think you're in a good place, and I think you would probably agree with that.
No doubt. I wouldn't change a thing.
Exactly.
We wanted to get in and have a chance, and we're going to have a chance if we continue
Yes, you are.
what we're doing. So
Yes,
that's all we can ask for. Now, whatever happens in the playoffs happens, and it's going to be our fault or our doing, whether we win or lose. And so
right.
We're excited about that, though.
Well, good. Well, listen, I want to congratulate you again on a tremendous victory against your number one rival, and good luck this coming Friday night against Farragut. We'll catch up with you next week and preview round one of the playoffs.
Sounds great. Thank you so much, Ralph.
Take care, Derek. Have a good day and a good week.
All right, you too.
All right, bye-bye. Hope you enjoyed this week's edition of the Main Street TV Local Sports Break with Coach Derek Hunt of the Maryville Rebels. We talked a little bit about the big win over Alcoa, some of the things that Maryville did exceptionally well in that game, some of the mindset that went into it, and some of the stride that Maryville is hitting right now as they get ready for the final game of the regular season. We talked about the players, some of the guys that have been performing exceptionally well, and some of the ones that performed exceptionally well Friday night. And then we talked a little bit about the Farragut game coming up, the final regular season game, also the final region game for Maryville. A very important one, though, because it will have a bearing on whether Maryville finishes third or fourth in the region and as a seed, and where they will go for the first round of the playoffs. So another big week on the Main Street TV Local Sports Break. Make sure you stay with us next week as we wrap up the regular season and get ready for the TSSAA playoffs round one. So for our producer, Nathan Miranda, for Coach Derek Hunt, I'm Ralph Miranda, and we'll see you next week.